and welcome to the fourth ever Shut Up and Shimmy. I am your host, Kat. Today we welcome yet another dancer. She has won like a billion awards in the last 3 months. 3 awards is less than a billion, but we'll go with it.
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
In the last year. That's what I meant to say. Not 3 months.
I'm pretty sure that every competition she goes to, everybody gives up and just gives their awards to you, is what I'm assuming at this point. No? All right, well, that's what I've decided. She is teaching. She's up and coming in the area. Teaching-ish. Please welcome. Fantastic start. Please welcome Carol.
Hey, thank you.
I try to do excellent intros, and sometimes they instantly go down the drain the second. Because that's the only thing in the podcast I write out, is your intro. And then
It's okay. It was a magnificent intro. I just, destroyed it.
You just destroyed it by doubting my excellence.
I fact-checked it. I was like, 3 months? No, not the last 3 months. Maybe a year.
I feel like it's only been 3 months. At least last time I talked to you, actually sat down and talked with you, you had just won Sakura's showcase.
Yeah, that was last year. Sakura's showcase. I got second runner-up, or third place at BDUSA for Wings. Mm-hmm. That was cool. And I won La Danse.
And then you went down to Belly Dancer of the Universe, didn't you?
That was BDUC.
BDUC.
Yeah,
I heard BDUSA in my mind.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that was back in February. That was cool. That was a lot of fun.
That's pretty killer. I've been to that competition, and it's cutthroat.
It is so cutthroat. I didn't expect it. I mean, I knew it would be really difficult, but, I didn't know how close everything would be. And their scoring criteria is really different. There's a lot of room for interpretation. It's just 1 through 5 for just, 4 categories, and they were, how entertaining you were, how technical you were, or something like that. And it doesn't, it's not broken down like it is at La Danse or BDUSA, where they ask to
how much
score.
Percentage of sparkle does she have on her left eye?
They don't break it down abdominals or head movements or whatever. Yeah. But it was a good learning experience. I saw a lot of really good dancers.
That room, because I don't know if it's set the same way than when I went, but you walk, here's my absolute, noviceness. I walk into the big room and and I'm all happy-go-lucky, ready to meet some dancers and say hi, and everybody's, standing in their own corner, hissing, and, and you have people talking in different languages, because they're from all around the world, and you're just sitting there looking like a big schmuck. Feeling that's what I felt like.
Aww.
I guarantee. Well, no, it was fine. I guarantee you felt a little bit different about that.
I did.
But how many people did you compete against in that competition?
In the Egyptian category, I want to say there were 18 or something like that.
Right on.
Yeah, something like that. This props category, a lot less. I want to say 12. I can't remember for sure, but that was a lot of fun. I didn't feel so good during my performance for Egyptian, and then right after that, it was just one of those things I knew I didn't do my best.
Aww.
So, I do this thing where I beat myself up a lot, but it's it's just how it is. I get over it, but that, the 24 hours right after a performance, I'm either beating myself up really bad, pulling apart everything I think I did, or I'm yeah, that was fun. I rocked it. Yeah. There's never really, whatever.
You just never let something go. It's either a maximum praise or just absolute detesting.
Exactly.
Disgust.
Oh man. And I was depressed for the rest of that day.
Oh, gosh, I can't imagine. You're usually so happy-go-lucky. I can't imagine you just in the mud about everything.
Well, but it's good. It helps me reflect on what I need to do differently, and
back to where we were. We were talking a little bit about how you the separation anxiety that you go through after performance, and I think that's something that actually a lot of people tend to struggle with, especially after performances. Is they get this absolute adrenaline rush and completely exhaust themselves, which puts their body in a physical point where they just can't take anymore. And then, of course, emotionally, you do the same thing. You go through this roller coaster, and then you just crash. Have you gotten better about that, or is it still the same since day one when you first started dancing?
I don't know if I'll ever get much better about it. Quite honestly.
You have no intention on changing your ways.
Oh,
intent.
I mean, I guess. I mean, like, going into a competition, I've been trying to have a good attitude, like, oh, if I don't win, it's okay, I'm just doing this for the experience, and I am doing it for the experience, but deep down inside, I'm like, if I don't win, I'm gonna beat myself up for the rest of my life. I'm gonna
go get a baseball bat and take your ankles out.
I'm gonna bang my head against the wall until I win something, and so that's kind of also why I stopped doing competitions after La Danse.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought about doing BDSA. I thought about doing Belly Dance of the Year. I thought about doing the one in Texas at the end of the summer with where they bring in like Randa Kamal and like Tito and like famous people.
Do you remember the name of that one by any chance?
Yalhala, something like that. I don't know.
I've heard of it, but I cannot remember a single detail.
Yeah, I know Bozhenka's gonna be there.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, I so want to go, even just for the workshop with Bozhenka. But it turns out that my husband's retiring from the military that weekend.
I guess that's more important.
I guess.
He goes, I don't care. Whatever.
No, but then I was like, you know what? I stress myself out too much for competition. As much as I try to convince myself that my heart's not necessarily in winning, I just am competitive, and it's not so much competition against other people, it's competition against myself. Like, I feel like I have to do my very best. I have to do better than every other performance I've ever done, or else I'll beat myself up. And that's what happened at BDUC, and well, that's not a really good example because I didn't place, but like
I think you did very well compared to how many people you've performed against.
I watching the video, I felt like it was an okay performance. I was very much in my head, and that was the first thing that told me that I'm not gonna place because I was too in my head. Like right before getting up on that stage, like really thinking about the stage dimensions and like where the judges were. When I'm thinking too much about those things right before performance, I know I'm not going to do well.
Who judged that year too? Because last year when I small anecdote, when I went up there, I walked up there because you have to walk up the stairs and then start the performance because otherwise you're going to kill yourself going up the stairs.
Right.
I look over, I pose, I look over, and there's Sadie, and she's just giving me this look like, ugh.
Oh.
Like I already, because my costume was jacked up, and she's already giving me a look like, oh man, this is going to be bad. And instantly, boom. My ego just cracked.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
It's amazing how much that can affect you.
Do you remember who judged you?
Yeah, it was somebody famous. It was Aziza.
Wonderful.
Aziza, but she had this like bright grin throughout the whole performance, and that was really encouraging. But still, I was way too in my head because I was like, okay, Egyptian category, I have to be very Egyptian. What does being Egyptian mean?
You have this inner monologue.
Yeah. That's another thing. I talk to myself too much in my brain. That didn't make any sense.
No, it does.
But anyway, yeah. So there was Aziza. There was Helena Vlahos, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Very nice lady. And there was this Ukrainian woman, I think her name was Yana, and she was scowling the whole time. She was like,
oh no.
Yeah, and
I wonder if she was just like having a bad day or something.
Maybe, I don't know, but whatever. Anyhow, so after that performance, it didn't matter if I had placed or whatever. I felt so shitty, and I was like hating myself. And then, I was also relieved because it was over, and I was done with the whole, like, analyzing all the environment, analyzing everything, and, whatever, plotting my dance. And then I had my props performance later on that night. I had Taksim, and then I had props, or was it the other way around? Was it props? Whatever. Anyway, I was just, like, drained.
Oh, man.
And I kind of didn't care anymore. And I wish I had, because I would have done better with the Taksim one if I'd cared more. Because I spoke with Helena after the competition. She was one of the judges. She was like, I thought you should have placed, but you needed to do more, like, daring stuff. You were a little too natural, a little too safe with your movements, but the winner, who was right next to me, oh, that was another thing that was weird about the tech team category. They had 4 of us up there on stage at the same time.
Oh, was that like because I saw a bit with the drum solo.
Yeah, they do that.
Where they did, which I thought was interesting yet strange at the same time. Which I've only seen at that competition.
I personally think it's because they want to take in as many registration fees as much as possible and still be able to have things done on time.
It definitely helps for time. That's
yeah.
For sure.
But anyhow, it's still kind of cool to watch the 4 the same. Oh, anyhow, yeah. But she told me that I didn't do anything that would really suck out, and that's why that was what held me back. Who knows if I had been more daring, if I hadn't been tired.
Was daring, like flashing somebody that would get attention?
I saw somebody do the splits and like different, level changes and just normal creative stuff that I should have been more creative. Knowing it's competition.
So you're still beating yourself up. There's no 24-hour period. You're still beating yourself up.
Anyhow, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, and I was really tired. And I kind of didn't care. And I was watching, not too long ago, I watched my video from the props category where I did place. And I was losing my balance all over the place. And I remember that performance, I was so tired. I was like, God, I don't care about placing anymore. I had beaten up myself so much by that point, like emotionally, and I hadn't slept well and whatever, that I didn't care that much. And when I went up there to do the performance, I just remember being like not grounded and just kind of like losing my balance a lot, and like, I had this like mental checklist, like, okay, I need to do this, I need to cover the stage, I do that, whatever, okay, I can half-ass everything. But I placed that one.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, when I was kind of not caring quite as much. Like I wasn't as emotionally invested at that point, like I did with the Egyptian category.
How did that affect performances past that point? Because you're very, this is not an insult.
Okay.
You're very left-brained about your performances in the best way possible.
What
right?
does that mean?
In
this context, what do you mean?
I've described you as the ditziest smart person I know.
Very analytical, like very...
Yeah, very analytical.
Okay,
like you have a checklist of what you're planning on doing and what's going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. And like, I need to hit these spots specifically. But after having that experience where you're exhausted, all of those barriers that you usually create for your performance are gone. That's when you place. Did that affect how you behave for future dances a little bit, or did it not even matter?
It did. Because then I thought about it. I was like, I need to just, like, fuck it. Just do what I do. Like, like I'm, this sounds really dumb, but, like, I'm at my happiest place when I'm dancing in my room and I'm not caring about anything. Like, because I'll record my practices and I'll watch back. Oh, that was pretty awesome. I wouldn't have thought of thinking of that. What I just did it because it felt good. And that's what I did for La Danse, for the first category, the pro category with the CD. I picked a song I really liked. And it's not like I hadn't danced to it before. I danced to it a bunch of times at home, but I hadn't, like, planned it out like I did for BDUC or for any other competition. I was like, okay, I know where the changes are in the song. I really like it. It gets me, like, pumped up. I'm just going to do what I do. That's what I did for La Danse Pro, and I got first place. I watched the video. I was like, yeah, I was having a good time. Yeah, so, like, when I find that when I don't care as much, I mean, it's good to care, but, like, when I'm not, like... When
you're having fun?
When I'm having fun! Yes! When I don't have all those voices in my head, when I don't have the score sheet in my brain as much, then I'm happier and I do better.
I think that's advice that a lot of people need to hear, because you get so worked up on the technicality of a competition performance. I heard the term the other day of she's a competition dancer.
Right.
Which I had never heard before until like a few weeks ago.
It changes your dancing, and totally.
That instantly started this whole thought process of, whoa, that's a completely different dance, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And I think we see that so much in competitions for clear, obvious reasons. If you want to show the technical, this is the opportunity you get to show your tech stuff that you forget this is dance. It's for fun.
Right.
I get to enjoy myself through this process. That there's I'm glad that because I mean I got to see your performance, both performances.
Oh.
Right. It was so funny because I competed against you, but what happened is right after anybody performed, they instantly threw their cover up on and then went outside to go watch you because everybody wanted to watch your performance.
Aww.
I don't know if you saw that, but
no, I didn't.
Like half of us in the back like sneaking with their veils over our head, like.
Oh, that's so sweet. You know what? I thought I ordered the video for the Pro Live category, but I guess I didn't because I never received it.
You need to check in with them. They had some issues.
Oh, okay.
I got mine a couple weeks ago. It was a process because a lot of things going on.
I got a hold of my performance from Roxy. She was sweet enough to I don't know if this will get her in trouble, but anyway, hopefully not because she's a sweet lady. She edited out my part and sent it to me, and I watched it, and I was like, I was so tired. And I could tell I was so tired. Like, you know, I wasn't as into it as I was with the CD performance. Because I think I had given my all for the CD performance. I was like, adrenaline, this is fun. Oh my God, yay, Rock Sharky. And you know, I think I just like, afterwards I was like, okay. And when I heard that I won that, I was like, all right, I'm done. And, you know, whatever happens with the live, I don't care. I'm just, you know, I'm done. I already got a
And little
trophy.
did you know, yeah.
Little did I know. But watching that video of my performance, I wasn't very, I mean, I'm not very proud of. I think I've done better than that performance. I mean, not to say that I didn't do a good job, you know, that I don't deserve a trophy or whatever, but, you know, I wish that for the title I had done better. That makes any sense.
You're allowed to say I did good.
I know.
I did good. And
I know.
Enjoyed it. And the thing is, again, you looked like everybody knew you were tired. We had just seen that you had performed.
Oh.
I mean, like 2 hours before. So I mean, that was a given that you're going to be a little bit tired. But it was a performance that again showed. Is this performance of it? You can watch it on your YouTube channel.
I watched.
Been posted.
I know. I didn't post it. I'm not going to share that one.
Fine, then we'll talk about the video that no one can see. And if you were there, you're the lucky few. Either way, it was a performance that really just showed the fun of the dance. And again, I think that really expressed.
I did show that I had. I mean, I did see that I had fun. I always have fun with Eric when he plays drums. Great, you know, and you know what it is. I don't know if drummers do this to every dancer, but they're always fucking with me. Like my husband even says so. He's like, I really hate it when the drummers fuck with you. You know, when they pause and they watch to see what you're doing, and then they do something else that you didn't expect.
4, 4, 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3.
Yeah.
4, 4. It's like,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, help me out here.
But you know, you know, when that happens to me, I have fun. I mean, I know I'm not gonna be on the beat, and that's kind of not what matters, I guess, if that makes any sense. And I think people appreciated that. I appreciated it, watching it, you know. But they picked a song that I absolutely hate. And I remember hearing it. Yeah!
I got Gamil Gamal.
Yeah, I remember you telling me you're like,
song. And I hate that song, and it came back to bite me. And
yeah.
It did for you. Or what you got?
Zaina.
Oh,
I hate that song. That song is like the most stereotypical, like, you know, I'm a belly dancer. I come out of a freaking genie lamp.
Depends on who plays it, but it's always just a little too slow for an entrance piece.
I just hate the melody. The meow 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 meow. It's so freaking like stereotypical belly dance and annoying. You know?
But I can sing the words.
Oh, I don't know the words.
I know the words by heart, unfortunately.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. What are the words? Zaina something.
Yeah, it's very repetitive.
What are they saying?
Beautiful girl, beautiful dancer.
Whatever. Of course they would say that. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm eating. But let's pull it back a little bit. I mean, because a lot of your performances have been competition pieces recently, and we'll go back to the fact that you decided to quit doing competitions for a while. Is that what I heard earlier?
Yeah, just a break.
Just a break. Okay, then we don't have to dig in. It's not like a big, I quit, I'm never doing it again.
I promise, I told Roxy I would do BDU, Belly Dancer of the Universe with her again in February for the Egyptian.
It's definitely a trek, and it's... If you've never checked out BDUC, it's worth checking out because they have two main categories. They have Universal and Egyptian, and Egyptian is the one you're going to want to pick because Universal has the craziest music.
Yeah.
Craziest music, man.
And it's usually poorly edited together.
I feel like the editing's not even the problem because like they do a bit of Persian, they do like 6/8 or like 9. They do some couple little rhythms, and you're supposed to know them all.
You know what's cool about these competitions though is that you learn a lot.
For sure.
You know, I mean, I learn a lot every time I do a competition. You know, like prepping for it, and if I could afford it, I would be studying with somebody more. You know, like getting somebody's more help preparing for these competitions, but I couldn't really afford it. I got help from Nadira and Elisa Gamal quite a bit, but I wish I had been able to study with them on a more regular basis.
Right.
But yeah, you learn a lot. You learn a lot, not just about like competition world, you know, how you're judged, you know, whatever, but just technique, you know, and the discipline that you acquire from, you know, working towards that goal and, you know, making yourself a better dancer. Yeah, and just kind of trying to put ego aside and really think about what you need to improve on and, you know, actually working towards that. So, you know, I really appreciated competitions for that reason. And yeah, I am competitive. But like I said,
Bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, of course, you know.
It's natural, though.
Yeah, I would be lying if I said I didn't want to win. I mean...
Everybody wants to win, whether they say it or not.
Yeah. I mean, I say to myself, oh, it's okay if I don't win. No, it wasn't okay.
And like, there's that back of you like, you're lying.
Yeah, exactly.
You're totally lying.
You're totally lying, you know. But anyhow.
But let's bring it back a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend the whole time talking about competitions, but we can. But
Whatever.
We won't.
You're the boss.
I am the boss. Isn't that great?
It is awesome.
I love being the boss. That's one of my that's one of my things. Being an Aries, I'm just a very
I'm a Libra.
Charge,
I'm directly across from you on the chart.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a fight right now.
I'm not a fighter. That's the problem with Libras. We're too indecisive to fight.
I'm too stubborn, man.
Oh.
Just sit
It's
here and talk
not
about the same
stubbornness.
thing.
It's conviction.
It's conviction. Sure, we'll go with that. Either way, bring it back.
Okay.
It's something I ask everybody just because everybody has their different roots. But where did you start dancing? What planted the seed for this? Essentially, this whole lifestyle. I mean, really, it's not just a hobby anymore.
No,
that's for sure.
It's it's a passion for sure. My past life, I was a musician. When I lived in DC, that's where I grew up, and that's where I met Russell. I was, I hate saying was, like I'm not anymore, but I'm a singer-songwriter. Like, I did the whole touring thing. I put out 3 albums. I was dead serious about it. I was a huge music nerd. And, you know,
Were you like a soloist yourself, or did you have your own band, or what kind of music did you play?
I was a quote-unquote singer-songwriter soloist, but I had a backing band. I recorded with a backing band. Actually, I played a lot of the instruments myself on the last record I put out. Wonderful. But I toured with a band. Sometimes I did solo shows, but my music really, like, called for a band, like a full, like, 3-dimensional experience, I like to say. But anyway, that was my life. That was, like, I had a day job. I went to college. I got a degree in IT, and I was a web developer, but all to support this music. I went into debt for it, you know, like, I took out student loans, but used the student loans on recordings and on my guitar, you know, stuff like that. I was always trying to be, like, I wanted to always be, like, some kind of trailblazer in my brain. Like, I had this huge ego. I was like, I'm always going to do something different and something new. And so I was experimenting. I was listening to different music, and I was, just, like, exploring different music from different countries, different cultures. And I stumbled upon Natasha Atlas. I think it was on eMusic or something. And, you know, she's a fusion, like, you know, but with Egyptian and Moroccan roots, right? And I just fell in love with her voice, and I fell in love with the music. And I started looking up her influences, and I found out she was a belly dancer, and she liked Abdel Halim Hafez, however you pronounce his name. She listened to all this stuff, and I started listening to all the stuff she listened to, and then that's how I discovered belly dance. She was a belly dancer too. And then I looked up lessons, I looked up classes, and in DC, in my area, there was a school called the Sahara School of Middle Eastern Dance. They had different locations. They were huge. They are huge. It's still around. So I started taking lessons with them, and just, like, really nerding out on, you know, like on
Totally.
like on rock sharky and Egyptian music and all of this stuff. And I even like the last record I put out, all the music I wrote for it, well, not all of them, most of the music I started off with fucking up Middle Eastern drum beats, Middle Eastern rhythms. Like there's this one song where I took the melody beat and I just made it 6/8 and it swung, and I, you know, so I tracked the drums and tracked guitar and stuff on top, and then that was most of the album, you know, just stuff that I took from Middle Eastern music and dance and just f***ing it up my own way, and it became Carol Bui music. But anyway, yeah, so that's what got me into Middle Eastern music, and then Middle Eastern music got me into Middle Eastern dance, you know, and then I started taking lessons, and then of course you can't help but become obsessed with belly dance, you know, and then
sparkle and
yeah,
covered, man.
And I was just obsessed. That was my world. You know, my music became influenced by it, and then Russ and I came out here because he was moved to McCord, and of course the dance scene here is so huge in Seattle and so inclusive and so like there's, you know, and diverse too. I started going to Delilah's classes because that was all I knew about. I mean, I knew, and I was like, I want to study with like the best. I want to study with
Right. So why not do all that?
some, yeah, and then you know, it became more and more of an obsession, and that's just, you know.
Overtook the music.
Overtook
to a
the
certain
music.
point, yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. I barely play anymore. I mean, I want to get back into it because I miss it. Like I find myself singing. I'm like, why don't I do this anymore? You know, but no, dance has totally taken over my life, and that's a great thing. I feel it's so fun. It's so rewarding. It feels so good. Yeah, that's how I got into it. Long story.
I appreciate the long stories. That's what it's for. I mean, gosh, it's like an hour long. But I'm sure you've considered lots of things, but I know a lot of dancers don't have a music influence. For example, myself. I mean, I pick a guitar and pretend like I know how to play things, right? But a lot of us don't have any sort of music influence. Have you ever thought about going back to that music influence and creating for your own dance? I mean, I know you've performed to your own songs.
Yeah, but writing music specifically for dance, that's what I want to do in the future.
Yeah.
Not so much like, I'm not going to try to be the next Beats Antique, because
Oh gosh, that's a whole different monster, though.
that's a different monster. Yeah, I don't want to write music that is, that, you know, when you think of music for dance, that it's going to sound like it. I just never been that way. And I mean, I like writing pop songs that are a little weird. Weird in that they're not conventionally like the same drum beat as every pop song you hear on the radio or whatever. Basically, I want to write a good pop song with my electric guitar, all like crunchy and distorted sounding, but to like a Saidi rhythm or some shit like that, or like to lately I've been listening to a lot of Iraqi pop.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, yes I have.
Yes, I have.
And it's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that little machine gun drum, and I want to write a song where I can incorporate that drum, and it's going to sound disturbing. Because when I first heard that drum, I thought it was like, I know the intent of, you know, in the music is it's happy. Like the songs, that's just what they do. They play this certain drum, and it just happens to sound like a machine gun. But I hear machine gun, I hear war, and I hear like violence.
Right.
You know? And I kind of want to run with that drum sound.
Why not?
Because it's awesome. I don't know. Like,
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, and so I want to do stuff there. There's so much stuff that I want to experiment with musically. So I'm not gonna like tell myself I'm gonna write music that's gonna sound danceable. I'm gonna write music that I will want to dance to. But I don't know if other people want to dance to it.
Oh, I'm sure they're.
You know what I
I think
mean?
you'd be surprised if you released.
Well,
music,
I mean,
even
it's
if
not
without
gonna.
the intention.
It's not gonna be like crunk. It's not gonna be like all electronic-y like Beats Antique, because I don't.
No,
I just don't.
No, that's not you.
That's just not my tool set. Yes.
Well, that's not the only band that makes music for
I
dancers,
know, but that's the most prominent. Like everybody knows who Beats Antique is, and like, you know, you can't go to a tribal performance or fusion performance
without one
beat. They're great though. I like them, but I mean, I get sick of watching people dance to them.
Again, another small antidote. I was hired to dance with this band who does like new wave goth-ish music, if you describe it that way. And I went to the performance. It was at night, so it's like 12 in Seattle. Like it's dark. I'm driving around. It's right by Showgirls. You know where Showgirls is in Seattle, right? And I go. This is like a little tiny ass goth club. I mean, goth club. It looks like the inside of Kat Von D's house, like skulls and like
Nice.
things are hanging.
Yeah.
And I'm driving around, and I see a bunch of like super drunk white girls wearing hip scarves.
Oh, nice.
And the narcissist that I am was like, oh, they're gonna go watch my show. And I'm so
you never know.
thrilled. I'm like, wow, they're gonna come. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Little did I know that Beats Antique was playing not 2 doors down from ours. And I was like, I'm such a hat. Because they've got, like, I think Zoe Jakes was performing with them at the time. And they're, of course, clearly don't give two shits if I'm there or not. I was like, instant ego. Just.
Oh, it's okay.
I was like, I'm so, I was so
You
excited.
are worth watching, though.
I was doing something
it's okay.
experimental too,
Yeah.
which I don't usually do, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's my Beats Antique story of me just looking like an asshole.
Oh, don't be.
Well, I mean, it's true. The fact that they even thought that I would be wearing any sort of anything for me, and the fact that the band even announced that I was there, which they didn't, but it wouldn't explain itself. Anyway. So you really started from a music route, and that's how you kind of became into this. You became the music, if you will, dancing with the music.
Right. And I've had a lot of critique, or criticism on the way I dance and I've been trying really hard not to do this, but I'm often very literal in my dance interpretation of a song, and I'm trying really hard not to be. But I think that's where it came from, because I am a musician. And when I listen to a song and I appreciate it as if I'm singing it, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
So, like, every turn in the melody, because it's just in my brain. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying, I always have a list of things I'm trying to improve on with my own dance, and that's one of those things, is to, like, one of the judges at La Danse said that it would help if I just react to the music a lot more as opposed to just interpreting it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I think a good balance of the two would be better, so I've really taken that to heart, and I've been working on that a lot.
Anyhow. Do you, when you're looking up for a new song, like say if you have a performance and you really need to pick something, which you and I both know that we're both those kind of people who pick it like the day before.
Yeah.
And we're just really bad about that. But do you take the literal interpretation and then just continue on with that and look up lyrics, find out what the song is about?
Yeah.
On almost every song, or is there some songs that you just kind of like,
I
like the way it sounds.
Some songs I like the way it sounds. And like I like to think that I know what they're saying even without the lyrics, just from the music.
Sure.
And at least the sentiment, and I mean, I hate to say this, but for the most part, I'm right. If I hear a song and I know, like, if a song's about, like, longing and, like,
sure.
That song, that Kulthum song that I really like, Darat Al-Ayan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but...
if you ask me to pronounce it, it won't happen.
Yeah, it's okay. There's several versions of it, or a few versions of that song that I've danced to. And before I read up the lyrics, I knew it was about, like, longing and, like, a love that's far away, that's not accessible at the time. And I looked up the lyrics after the fact, and I was like, yeah, I was right, okay. Sometimes I just, like, innately feel it.
Let's see, where was I going to go with the stuff that I wrote down earlier? Where was I going to go with it? We talked a little bit about competition.
Yeah, where it came from.
So where you came from. So with your style, you started over in D.C. Did you start with, like, a traditional belly dance, or did you experiment with themes? Because a lot of people go through this transition period where they'll experiment with a little of this, a little that. They'll do a little bit of tribal, a little bit of other stuff.
Right.
Did you ever stray from that, or were you pretty much straight and narrow on that?
I was straight and narrow because, the school that I went to, they were really, like, they had several teachers a part of the school, but there was a set curriculum for each level, like beginner 1, beginner 2, beginner 3. So everybody was learning the same thing. Everybody was on the same track, and it was all like belly dance basics. And that's essentially what I did, belly dance basics, and but then there were a few like elective sort of type classes. Like one was a Vail student trip class. That's what I did that. That was really fun. And I did a drum solo performance class as well. Excuse me, where we learned a pretty complicated drum solo choreography.
Right on.
And which was awesome because it forced me to be really technical and like grow kind of fast, technically speaking. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I think it was mostly just like traditional rock sharky, like your typical Oriental dance. Not so much tribal, not so much Egyptian, just generic. Like if there was a generic
brand,
that would have been it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They had I really liked that school. I liked their business model a lot, even though I think from what I understand, and I heard this much later, that some of the more independent teachers in the area in DC really resented that school. But as a student, I really appreciated everything they did. Like they explained everything very well. It was a uniform way for them to teach. Everybody understood what an umi was. Everybody understood what a camel was. Everybody understood what Saidi was, or what it wasn't like it was like shitty teaching either. It was good. Like all the teachers, one of the requirements for those teachers were to study with what's her name? Sarah Kent, the woman who does Journey Through Egypt. Every instructor there had to go through their Journey Through Egypt, at least the first one. I know there's 4. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, they had to at least go through Journey Through Egypt 1, which covers all the basics of belly dance from, I guess, the Egyptian side, like from Cairo,
mm-hmm.
And like some of the basic, the more well-known folkloric stuff, the roots of belly dance. So they were competent teachers, and I learned a lot from them. And not only did they have the core classes, like the core technique classes, but they also had other styles like salsa fusion. They had fan veil class. They had Hagala dance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
You don't see that ever.
Yeah, you don't see that around here ever, except maybe from Helena Erickson or something. But yeah, like I really liked that. I really liked that a lot, and I wish there was something like that here. And they built a community around the locations of the school, the students. I think by the time I left, I want to say they had like 600 students altogether in the DC metro area. They had like 5 locations. I don't know, something like that. But and I know some of the independent private teachers resented that, but I thought it worked for me. They had haflas, and they had workshops. They had like Golden Age workshops, and they hosted these like awesome teachers. They hosted Karim Nagy.
Oh, right on.
Every year, Bojenka, whatever. But of course, I think they had the money for it too.
Yeah, it sounds like they had quite the setup in the first place.
Yeah, the setup and the money. I know that makes a huge difference in business. But yeah, when I first came out here, I really missed that. I was like, I wish there was something like that around here, and in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to do something like that, like start a school, quote-unquote school, but I don't have the energy or the motivation for that.
Yet.
Not yet.
I think it's percolating.
It's percolating. I do want to open up my own dance studio sometime.
Oh gosh, please.
I so want to, but it's a matter of like just one thing at a time and getting my massage business going and reliably going
right
first, and then eventually making it into a massage and movement studio and adding the classes that I want. And my biggest motivation is like kind of dispelling the the idea that belly dance is just like this mystical, like sexy thing, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Belly dance is sexy, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah, right.
It's
Yeah.
so much more than that, and it's, you know, and especially with this whole like anti-Arab, anti-Muslim sentiment all across the country, it's just nice to show that there's, you know, they're three-dimensional people and three-dimensional, like, as a culture, you know, or as many cultures rather, you know,
They
there's
exist.
so much.
There's more than just what you see on news.
Exactly. And yeah. And belly dance to me, it has changed my life so much for the better. Like, it's just, I've been such a happier person since I discovered belly dance. Since I discovered belly dance on dogs. But
So Big Dreams, you want to really take the stance and make sure that the general public has the best views of it as possible.
not just the best view, but to experience the, like, how joyful it is, how wonderful, how just like fun and life altering it is to just like dance and, you know, just, yeah. I mean,
Come to the Church of Belly Dance, where we
come to
preach
the-
sparkles and hips curves.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
belly dance, I think, is the most forgiving out of many of the dance genres as far as like expression. You know, like room for, I guess, individuality and
Sure.
whatever.
So we're
That's
going
your
to go
job.
back in time
Okay.
a little bit.
Okay.
That's my job. I keep people on point.
Yeah.
That's always been my job. But going back a little bit, I mean, you've performed a lot, especially recently. You've been just everywhere at this point. What was your first performance like? What was that experience for you? Especially you being the left-brained, analytic, beat yourself up after kind of performer, which you've never deserved that kind of critique. How was your first performance? Where was it? Was this back in DC?
Solo or troupe?
Whatever's most interesting.
Whatever's most interesting.
Or whatever is more prolific for you. I always imagine, personally, my solo performance is the one that I always think
Yeah.
of as my first performance.
My first solo performance was actually at a competition. Jewel of
Are you
Sierra.
serious?
After I moved out here. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I guess because I was no stranger to performing.
Sure.
It wasn't that scary for me as it could be for many other dancers. But yeah, it was Jewel of Sierra. I competed in the non-pro category. I took third.
That's too freaking hilarious.
Yeah, and it was, you know, I was so clueless. Like, looking back on it, I did the drum solo piece that I did with that class back at Sahara Dance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was an awesome drum solo. The choreography was really cool. Very busy, but very, very cool. I took that choreography. I worked with Elisa Gamal on tweaking it. And it was kind of last minute. I think I had like a month left, before. Yeah. And it was in Lake Tahoe, and Russ and I were like, oh, Lake Tahoe, that'd be a nice vacation spot too. So we'll go and we'll vacation and we'll do this competition all in one fell swoop. Yeah, and Elisa, I remember Elisa was like, okay, this competition, all you're doing is a drum solo. You know, that's not the best idea, but since that's all you got right now, we'll go with it.
She's like, this girl is crazy. Did you tell her it was her first solo performance, or did she not say anything? Because I wouldn't say a damn thing.
I don't remember if I told her it was my very first
funny.
performance.
You're competition addicted.
I was, yeah.
I think yeah, especially not necessarily anymore, but I think at the time you were.
Yeah. Because I wanted to be like the very best, like right away. So I was like always dancing at home. I had all these DVDs and whatever. Yeah, and I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to compete. You know. Excuse me. I'd been dancing for like a year and a half at that point.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, I was so clueless.
To be fair, it is the non-pro category.
It was the non-pro category. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't that delusional. But anyway, I did veil to it.
To
a drum solo.
Oh, that is odd.
It was very odd. But, you know, and Elisa poor Elisa, she just went with it. She was like, okay, this is what you really want to do.
I don't know what you're doing, but I have to teach you.
Yeah, she's like, yeah. And she was like,
You did, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine. I really want to see the performance video.
I have it somewhere.
I would be interested
It's
to
on
see how you do
YouTube,
that.
but I took it down. after I got more professional videos.
Say, if there's a copy somewhere, I will track it down.
I'll show you. I'll
Okay.
show you. I don't mind. I'm not too.
I won't
embarrassed.
share it or secretly film it.
It was choreographed. You know, I wasn't comfortable enough with improving just yet. Yeah, and but yeah, I was just so clueless about belly dance as we know it. Like veil, drum solo, what?
That's so funny. That's because that's too funny that's been ingrained in my brain too, that you are not allowed to do a veil during a drum solo, because that is actually kind of intriguing now that I think about it, and I want to go try that out when I get home.
And at the time, and you know what? I really don't think it's all that weird. But you know, knowing what the general rules and standards are with belly dance, nobody does a veil or a drum solo. Oh my god! But it felt right to me.
Sure.
You know, it felt right to me. Like, you know, of course I did it on the beats and whatever, you know, and so, you know.
Yeah, you weren't doing like a lyrical bit to the drum solo, I'm sure. Oh, you started teaching recently.
Well, teaching itself, not so recently. I used to teach aerobics. I used to teach group
That's
fitness.
right, you had told me that. I completely forgot.
In college, I taught step aerobics, I taught kickboxing, I taught sculpting with weights, free weights, and like, you know, bands and stuff. I taught indoor cycling.
I could see you doing that. Absolutely doing that.
And
Let's
you know
go,
what?
everybody.
I was
Yeah.
actually really good at it because I'm
Sure.
kind of a bubbly cheerleader type. Well,
Yes and no.
in my own way. Yeah.
Yeah,
yes and no. Like I'm like, yeah, this is so awesome. Let's do it. You know, and that was really fun for me. But then I got my day job, and then I just didn't have time anymore. But the past couple of years, I've gotten back into it. 2012, I I got recertified in teaching group fitness, and I was teaching at this. I taught belly dance aerobics. I didn't teach any of the old formats anymore. I didn't teach step anymore. I didn't really care too much about getting back into those, but I wanted to teach belly dance for fitness and for fun. And I did that at the small studio in South Tacoma called the Toy Box. Mm-hmm. Do you know of them?
I lived it's a funny thing because I lived right by there for a long time, and I would drive right by and I go, that place. It's sketchy looking. It's a dance studio. It's a different kind of dance studio.
It was in a storage facility. That's what it was.
Really? That I didn't know. Because the way it was set up is that it was so far back from the room that you saw the sign, but you never saw it in.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it felt like. It felt like a storage facility that she turned into a dance studio. And she taught pole dance there. And, I taught belly dance aerobics, or cardio belly dance. I forget what it... Oh, I called it belly rocks. I called it belly rocks. And that was so fun. I had such a good time. I didn't have very many students because I didn't really try very hard to advertise.
And again, that place... There's something... It's so important to have your studio right by the street, because if there's that distance, for some reason that makes a whole lot of difference.
Oh yeah, it totally does. I totally saw, and then I didn't last very long there because I was also going to school. I had just started massage school, and I was just so busy, and I was like, I don't have the energy to advertise. I don't have the energy to, just to keep this going right now. So I stopped. But I did sub at Gold's Gym. I taught belly dance aerobics there. And they loved it. I knew it was a Zumba crowd, so I was like, okay, I have to make this really high impact. I have to make this high intensity. And how do I do this? And I added some Shabi and I added some Saidi, and that did the trick. You wouldn't think of that. You would never guess that people who do Zumba would actually like Saidi dance, but it worked. They loved it. And this is what I think about a lot of belly dancers who don't give the general public enough credit. They think, oh, well, no, they're not going to understand this music. They're not going to understand this dance. At least I hear this a lot on, I see it a lot on, Buzz or whatever.
Oh, there's always a billion opinions.
Yeah, these, they don't give the general public enough credit. So they're like, oh, well, I'm not going to teach this in the class because they're not going to get it or whatever. No, they loved it. And I used, Middle Eastern music. I didn't use American pop. I used Middle Eastern music, and they loved it.
That gives a lot of credibility to the Zumba crowd, because there's a lot of complaints about the Zumba crowd, which I absolutely understand, that it's stealing the customer base from belly dance. that it's a bastardized version of dance forms.
Yeah,
and I think it is, but there's always room for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to hear that you were using the moves. How do they do, especially in people who are new to dance?
I'm actually Zumba certified. I did the workshop last year, so I know what the idea behind it is. They do teach, anyway, they do take regional dances, regional Latin dances, cumbia, salsa, merengue, whatever, and they take the basic steps and they make it high impact, and it's high cardio, high intensity,
meant
whatever.
for fitness. So.
Meant for fitness, but they make sure they leave the element of fun in there. And I think that's what belly dance classes are missing, is that they take themselves so seriously about technique and history, which is all great knowledge that you should pass that on. But don't forget that it's a fun dance, and people do it to relieve, stress. They do it because it feels good. Don't forget that element of the dance. And I think Zumba does a really good job of keeping that. And I think that's what brings people in, because it's a party, and yeah, you're doing it to like these particular rhythms, you're doing these particular steps that have been a big part of other cultures, and it may not always be authentic dance in the class, but you got to remember it's also a fitness class. You have to do some modifications to make it more aerobic, make it more
you may be lifting your legs more, you may be doing a little bit more repetitiveness.
Exactly.
And stuff like that,
cover more ground or whatever. So I get the whole Zumba thing. I hear a lot of belly dance instructors gripe about it. Mm-hmm. But I think that these belly dance teachers just don't get it. They don't understand what the point of belly dance is. It's fun, and it's like cathartic. And they really in the Zumba workshop I did, they really emphasized that it's supposed to be fun. It's a party. It feels good, and that's why it caught on. Mm-hmm. I think belly dance has that potential too. Sure. Without being, having to be bastardized or whatever. Belly dance, belly dance moves in themselves, they don't have to be like watered down or dumbed down for it to be fun and exciting. I think you just have to take the right approach. You can't take it too seriously. When you take it too seriously, you lose people. I just realized I'm totally repeating myself over and over again.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's what you're getting back into, is you're getting mostly into the fitness instruction, at least at the time. But then you moved on to start teaching some private lessons.
Yeah.
Which you started to grow up some baby dancers in the process.
Yeah.
And I've had the opportunity to feature at my shows, which I think is so flippin' cool.
I know.
Second generation dancers in my time, which we're not that old, so it doesn't count. But like second generation dancers from what we're going to be. And how has that experience been for you, teaching your passion to somebody else who's not just interested for the fitness, but actually
loving it,
is grasping onto your world and just like feed me more.
It makes me so happy. Like that. Like, if I can get somebody as obsessed with belly dance as me to understand, this is such a cool thing, so fun, it'll change your life, you have to understand. If I can get somebody to understand that too, then I'm just thrilled. That just totally makes my day, makes my year, and and I got her to compete. And, I was just beaming the whole time.
I was so proud of her.
I was so proud of her, too, like, she had been dancing for only a couple months or whatever. Yeah. And, it was my idea to get her to compete, for her to compete.
You being the competition queen, as I like to say.
Yeah. I was like, you could do this, and she got up there and she did it.
She totally did it.
Yeah, and I was just so proud. It just made me so happy to, like, get that belly dance bug in somebody, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And really caring about belly dance, not just be like, ooh, look at me, I'm sexy and I'm shaking my boobs. Oh my God, yeah, I'm hot.
Right.
Not just like that.
You have a purpose for the gospel versus just
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For being a newer teacher, especially to someone who had no experience, and she said she had done ballet before, I believe, but I mean, for the most part, no experience in any form of belly dance or more exotic dances, at least to our area, because I think at a point every little girl has done some sort of ballet or tap at some point in their life. How was that experience for you? because I know a lot of people who are looking to break into teaching don't really know where to start. They've been performing for 5, 6, 7 billions of years, doesn't matter, and they're just starting to take that first step into giving their knowledge away.
Right.
How was that step for you? How was that? Was that an easy step? Was that something that, again, you being the analytical person, writing out every step in the process? What did that look like for you?
Like well, I mean, I guess I've had experience teaching aerobics.
Sure.
Like breaking things down simply, you know, communicating in a way that people will understand, demonstrating in a way that people will understand. So teaching wasn't that scary to me, I guess. But I guess my very first lesson, like preparing for my very first private lesson, I did have like a plan in my head, like, okay, how to break down this move. What moves to start her out with first, you know, how to, you know, and then I realized my comfort zone is making things fun. And just like in aerobics in an aerobics class, you know, there isn't a whole lot of verbal breakdown. You're moving the whole time, but you're moving basic steps. You build on it. You build on that. You build combinations, and it's a seamless, I guess, seamless form of learning where you take a building block and, you know, that's how you explain the more complicated stuff. And so, like, I had my very first private student, start out with a march, then a step touch. You put the touch in front of you, okay, and then you add the hip, and then that's the basic Egyptian, you know. And they just move along with me the whole time. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
And so and that way they can see the like, oh, that's how it works. So that's how you build it. And, you know, I get it. And then from the basic Egyptian, you add direction to it. It's still the same step, touch, but then you know, like.
Then you're adding some layers to it.
Yeah, layers, and then I find that that's a lot easier for students to get, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
You know, they get the footwork, the basic footwork, step, touch, right? And then, yeah. I just realized I don't know if I answered your question.
You did.
Okay.
I like to put it in the phrase of when I'm teaching, especially in belly dance fitness, which is something I also teach. Of, now let's make this a little bit harder.
Yeah, totally. You know, and then and it's not the way teaching it in that style like makes it less intimidating. You're not just jumping into a brand new step.
Yeah,
that's
and
really,
omi, roll up.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God,
like, what does that mean?
I'm so scared.
Yeah. So like, you know, so I plan things out like that, like how to break it down, by starting out with the very simplest of moves and then adding on to it to make it what you're trying to get to.
Sure.
You know.
So let's talk a little bit about the future. What is next for you? What is your big plan? Let's put it this way. So, what is your big future goal? What is something that you're interested in doing in the near future? And what do you see yourself doing in the far future?
I haven't thought about that far.
Well, go as far as you feel comfortable. I don't expect everybody to have their life plans all planned out like I do.
Well, I want to open up my dance studio, my dance massage and movement studio. Excuse me. I eventually, at some point, I would love to dance overseas. And I mentioned that earlier. I would love to dance somewhere in the Middle East for, even if it's just like a month-long contract or something. That would just make me so happy. I just want to be able to, like, I want to do it in you know, in the context of where, like, it all came from, quote unquote, and just really live that. I don't know, like, you know,
just live the belly dancer world in the truest form.
In the truest form.
Working in
really
Cairo, I'm assuming.
Cairo.
Yes,
that would be like
Luna of Cairo, right?
Luna of Cairo.
You want to live her life for at least a month.
I wouldn't want to live it like indefinitely. I wouldn't want to live it forever, but I just want to taste that for like a month.
Sure. Open own studio, dance eventually overseas, at least for a little bit. Anything past that point, or at least some more recent goals?
More recent goals, more like small, like short-term goals.
Take a break, maybe?
No,
No, never a break for you?
I love dancing. Like it's
Yeah.
like if it would be work for me to take a break from it.
Interesting.
That's what it would feel like. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I haven't. I'm not in that position where I'm dancing for money a lot, so that I'm not burnt. I'm not burnt out on it.
Sure.
I'm sure like if I was gigging every week, I would be burnt out, but I'm not doing that. Eventually, I do want to do more. I do want to make some more money off of it. Like, I want to do a DVD.
There we go.
I want to do a DVD.
That's usually in the goal of every dancer. If you were to do a DVD, what would it be about?
It would be Cairo Clubbin'.
Cairo Clubbin'.
Yes.
Interesting.
Like-
Okay, go ahead and explain.
like,
Because I feel like you've thought about this many times before.
Yes.
Go ahead and unload on me.
Basically, it would be like a Zumba, but belly dance.
Okay.
Like authentic belly dance, but to real Egyptian music, real shabi. And it would be stuff that Egyptians will dance at weddings and at clubs or whatever. Not just Egyptians, but like other forms of Middle Eastern dance. I really love the Iraqi gypsy dance right now, and I think it'd be an awesome workout, and it's so fun. It's so like cathartic, and I think a lot of people would really love it.
What is the best advice that you can give to a dancer who might be listening, who wants to be where you are, wants to have the same goals and aspirations that you
Yeah.
do? What's the one thing that you wish you could have heard when you were first starting, or right when you first were doing your first competitions?
Don't get hung up on rules. I guess that's my thing. Yeah, don't get hung up on rules. Unless you're being commissioned to do a specific Egyptian style dance or a tribal style dance.
Somebody's paying; they're the one who makes the decisions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, really.
Exactly. Yeah. But remember, like, take in as much information as you can. Understand that all of these are just tools. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
And don't get hung up on, Egyptian dancers are supposed to do it this way, or not supposed to do it this way, or whatever. Don't get hung up on the rights and wrongs. Be educated, but like understand that it is your art.
Sure. Learn the rules before you break them.
Learn the rules before you break them, and don't be afraid to break them. And don't, because I used to have it in my brain that there's a belly dance police. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, oh, she's dancing.
It's like a
to
Mizmar making the sound going around.
Like, oh, she's dancing to a ballady piece, and she's not dancing completely ballady. She did an arabesque in a ballady piece. Oh my god. Who fucking cares?
It just doesn't matter anymore.
Who fucking cares, really? I guess that's my advice.
Right on. No, it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. Don't make fun of yourself for the advice you give. So just learn the rules before you break them. I'm paraphrasing for you. See, I'm a great host.
You are an awesome host.
I can
Thank
paraphrase for the people I speak to. Learn the rules before you break them, but don't be afraid to break them. Golden. We'll quote that as what you said. Is that okay?
That's totally
That's
fine.
totally good. So if somebody was looking for more information about you, wanted to find out about private lessons, wanted to maybe hire you for that overseas experience you've been waiting for,
That'd be great.
or even hire you for workshops. I mean, you've been teaching workshops too. Where would they go to find you?
CarolTheBellyDancer.com.
Straightforward. Takes you to the Facebook page that you have.
Yes. I'm working on an actual website, and eventually that domain will point to the website.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
I'm judging myself. It's
Okay, it's fine. Right now, SaucePod only has a Facebook page too. It's totally fine.
Yeah, so
CarolTheBellyDancer.com will take you directly in contact where you can message her, you can find out more information, find out where she's dancing next. You can hire her for your events, for a workshop if you're interested in learning more about her. That's probably the best place you can go right now. Is there any recent performances you have coming up? Mind you, this is going out on Tuesday. when I say Tuesday. See, I'm talking in the future. The future. Are you at MedFest this year?
No, I decided not to turn in my application.
I forgot to turn in mine. It's a mail-in process. If you don't know, Mediterranean Fantasy Festival is a big event.
It's
awesome. It's great. It's very long. It's great. It's fantastic. But it's a mail-in process, and I always forget to mail in.
Yeah.
Every year.
Well, I forgot until like, right before the deadline, and then I decided I don't feel like doing it.
And then you'll regret it the second you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, because I know I'm sensitive to heat. I sweat very easily, very, very easily.
It happens.
Yeah, but I sweat to the point where I spray people with my sweat.
Do you want that in the pod?
That's fine. I don't care about that in the pod.
I spray sweat.
I spray sweat on people.
Keep a safe distance.
Yeah,
when you're dancing.
oh my god,
is that why you like stage performances?
That's another reason why I like stage performances.
Right on.
But no, seriously though, I dance at this place called Caspian in Bellevue. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I've been.
Yeah, they're a Persian place, and the woman who books the dancers there, she's well, the owners are particular about the music and blah blah blah.
Very particular. When you pay, they are allowed to make the rules.
Oh yeah, I understand that, but that made me so nervous about dancing there. And they're the impression I get on Persians in general hiring belly dancers is that they want you to be really put together. I'm not saying that I'm not put together, but I can be a little rough around the edges, and I've always been that way. I sweat a lot.
That's nothing you can control.
No, and I'm not the cleanest dancer. My moves are sometimes sloppy, but I don't mean that in a bad way. That's just how I am. That's how I am expressive. I'm a little sloppy. I'm not perfect ballet arms or whatever. So I was really worried about dancing there. And every time I dance there, I'm pouring sweat because they have you dance for a while. They have you dance for 30 minutes.
It's quite the deal. Do you do a double set there? I can't remember.
No, I didn't do a double set there.
Just the one.
I just did the one. The last one I did was this past weekend, actually.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I just remember being really soaked in sweat and being self-conscious about my costume having sweat stains or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And then I keep looking over at the owner to see if he's really disappointed in me or something.
He just has a sad, he has the sad Sadie look from the 2013 Belly Dancer of the Universe. Just, I don't like any of this already.
No, yeah.
So will this be I don't know if I'm actually asking. Will this be a regular thing for you that some people can actually go up to Caspian and have a chance to see any dance?
Not, I guess, semi-regularly. I've been mostly a sub, but I've been a sub pretty much once a month.
Right on.
So far.
So there's a good chance if you go up to Caspian on a
oh yeah, I'm there the 26th, and I'm also at Harissa after that, the 26th.
26th.
The same night. The same night.
Good Lord, woman. Okay, so if you want a double header of Carol dancing, head up to Bellevue at Caspian on the 26th.
Yep, July 26th, and that one's at 8:00. And then Harissa is after that, around 10-ish.
And they say 9 o'clock. Just get there late.
Yeah.
So anyway, the 26th of July is the day to be checking out Carol either at Bellevue at Caspian or a little bit closer at Harissa in Seattle, and that starts at 10 p.m. Most likely people will be checking out there. Otherwise, go to carolthebellydancer.com for more information.
Oh, I'll be at Stadium Fair a few times. I don't know which dates. You and I have to figure that out, by the way.
Yes, we do. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, anyway. But
so Stadium Fair, it's in Tacoma if you're in this area. Again, I'm a Tacomaite, so is Carol.
Art and Wine Walk. I think I will be doing a belly dance demo at my...
right on.
I need to talk to you about that, too, actually.
Let me know.
But anyway, yeah. Yeah, so just, check my website.
Check your website. All right, my Tacoma friend, it's been wonderful.
Thank
you
fun.
again. We had a great evening of some super metal wine, some chicken wings.
So metal.
Yeah, some chicken
wings and camembert cheese.
The classiest of dancers you've ever met. Again, it's been wonderful, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Cheers.
Want to listen to more Sauce Pod? Go to facebook.com/shutupandshimmy podcast for more interviews with your favorite dancers.